time for our weekly entrepreneurship segment, Entrepreneurship My Journey. This week we have the founder of Indaba Billboards and Media, which has been ranked the biggest black-owned out-of-home advertising company in South Africa. Now, since its inception in 2019, the company has made massive strides in the advertising industry. Let's take a look at what the business is all about before we get into the chat with the owner, who is sitting right next to me, waiting to tell his story.
Indaba Billboards and Media is a transit media advertising specialist company. Our services include taxi rank advertising, billboard advertising, train stations advertising, wall mural, spaza Wi-Fi advertising, as well as shop branding. Indaba Billboards has a national footprint of road traffic-facing billboards located on busy roads nationally. We have met the digital wave with strategically placed digital screens that cater for our brands.
Quite an impressive business that you have going there, Mr. Molefi. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio. Tell us, what inspired you to get into advertising in the way that you have chosen to do over the last few years?
Morning, Chief, and to the viewers out there. I started in advertising a long time ago. I started working for the likes of Head Boys, which later became Head Boys McCann. Then I went to join a company which was run by Tandira Matisela called Israel Multimedia. And then from there, I saw a gap in the outdoor media space, you know, in terms of ownership of the billboards and so forth. Because if you went into townships and look at who are the people who are owning the structures, the actual brick and mortar, you'd find that most of them are not even South African, and they are not black. And you're looking at our townships, I mean, the township economy market is huge. And we saw a gap, me and my partners, to say, look, why don't you put together a package of an end-to-end outdoor company that will provide clients with a mass media communication platforms, from your taxi ranks to your billboards, wall murals, and all of that. So we put them all together and went into the market and just made packages that would suit brands, to communicate with their consumers.
Yeah, and how easy was that for you to do? Selling this idea of this outdoor media advertising, and we're going to be doing it specifically in these areas.
Look, it was not an easy. I mean, there's no business that is easy. It was not an easy thing. We had to put a lot of sleepless nights. We had to get into kind of fights. I mean, hence we had to open up what we call the Black Billboard Owners Alliance, which really strives to be the voice of black media owners, because you look at the industry is a very big industry. It's about 4.2 billion that goes through the industry each year. And black people are not even getting even 4% of that, So what we did is that the PBOA, we call ourselves the PBOA. I mean, they got involved when PRASA took out a tender, because previously, if you look at the people who were the media owners at PRASA, they were all non-black. Yeah. And then now when PRASA took out a tender, as the PBOA, we wrote to PRASA and said, can we give black people a chance in these processes? And yes, it helped. PRASA gave us a chance. We got a few billboards from PRASA, and hence we grew in the market, and now we are one of the biggest, and we can compete with the rest.
Yeah, and I mean, so there was that challenge of penetrating the market because of the institutional structures that were already there in terms of non-black media space owners. What about challenges around funding and financing and getting the content that you're selling to your clients onto these major billboards?
Look, it is always a challenge to grow any company. I mean, like we said, me and my partners had been in the industry for a long time, and when we came together, we said, guys, let's invest in these things, So we put together some money and borrowed there and there, and hence we could build our billboards as well as taxi ranks. We went and negotiated with the taxi owners so that we can, use their facilities to advertise. And the challenge has really been when it comes to clients, you go direct to brands, they'll send you to agencies.
Yeah.
When you go to agencies, they'll tell you that they have certain global deals with certain media owners. And you find it very difficult. But I think since the PBOA has been established, brands are starting to listen to us, as well as agencies are starting to listen to us. So we are on a negotiating table with both brands and agencies.
Yeah. Now, there's been major advancements over the last few years, and I'm talking digital technology and its growth because of the pandemic. Yeah. And so one would assume that the way in which many companies are advertising is different from the traditional billboards. Have you found that there's been a shift? And how is Indaba Media moving with that shift, if it's there?
So yes, there's definitely been a shift in terms of traditional media. We know that the digital space has taken over some budgets from the traditional media into your cell phones and whatever. So what we do as Indaba, we have what we call Wi-Fi in spaza shops as well as in taxis. So when you get to a spaza shop, you are able to connect, and then we've got brands that are advertising on that. You go into a taxi, you are able to connect to and from work using free Wi-Fi, and we sell space on those digital platforms. We've also now established holograms, which is a very new and exciting way of advertising. But yes, let's just wait for the space and we will see what's coming up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It sounds quite exciting. What are the plans, apart from the digital changes that you're making and the adaptations that you've had to do? But in terms of growth, do you see Indaba Billboards going beyond South Africa's shores?
Definitely. We would want to go beyond South African shores, starting with Africa. So we are busy with one of my partners who travels around Africa a lot, trying to look at the landscape and make form partnerships with African media owners,
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not as easy as going into any country and building.
No, it's not. I mean, you've seen the likes of your ShopRites and MTN struggle quite a bit in the rest of the continent. I mean, let's talk generally about the entrepreneurship landscape in South Africa. You are an entrepreneur yourself, and I'm sure you've got a view on how there is or a lack of support for entrepreneurs who are trying to grow and penetrate markets in South Africa. What is your general view of that?
Look, there are many programs that have been promised to entrepreneurs in South Africa, by government and by the business sector, and most of them have been talk shops. Nothing has really been implemented. We've got our small business ministry, and we don't see anything from them. There's just shortage of implementation. We talk and talk and talk, but when it comes to implementing, no one implements, So as the PBOA, what we've done is that we are looking at empowering the up-and-coming entrepreneurs who want to enter the industry. So if you've got a billboard or you want to build a billboard, you can come to us for advice. We'll tell you how we started and what you can do and how to apply, because all billboards have to be legal. So you'll have to apply with municipalities, which there's red tapes and all of that. But as the PBOA, we try and help up-and-coming small entrepreneurs to really get into the industry.
A final thought from you. If you could offer a piece of advice for an entrepreneur or someone who wants to get into business in any industry, not necessarily outdoor advertising, what would that be?
Look, you must firstly do what you love. You must have a passion for what you want to do. If you want a business to grow, you must have a passion for it. When you wake up in the morning, you must be happy to go to work, not just do it because you want to earn something. So it's passion, be driven, be passion driven, and love what you want to do.
Yeah. And we must just create that misconception that money comes immediately when
no,
you
money doesn't come immediately. Money is difficult to come. It will take years. You have to build.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Molefi. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Molefi, who is the founder of Indaba Billboards, was with us in studio on Entrepreneurship, My Journey.